Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Slot One Super Podcast. Bro, Minato caught me so off guard. We are back with episode 7 of the podcast today. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful Friday here. I see a bunch of you are in the chat today. Everybody said, yo, back up real quick. How y'all doing, chat? Welcome to this episode of the podcast. Of course, as per usual, I am joined with my lovely co-host, the Mass Ningen, and of course, Mr. Minato's Flash. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Oh, yes. Doing very well, thank you.
The duality of man is truly on display on the podcast today. Well, we have lots of fun stuff to talk about. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Dokkan.
Yeah, who's this guy?
I've never met this man in my life.
When'd you get
here? Bro, I just teleported in. It's a transmission, you know what I'm saying?
Dokkan.
But anyhow, we have... Yes, sir. We have lots of fun stuff to talk about today. Obviously, with all of the updates to Dokkan, right? We got the brand new quest mode Trunks and Broly. We got some Link skill orbs. We got Jiren EZA. And all the other funny stuff that came with it as well. Of course, Global got the GoBros EZA. We also got a ton of Dragon Ball information this week. So very exciting stuff. But before we get started with today's topics, I did want to remind you guys that if you want to help support the podcast, and of course you have any questions, comments, or shout outs, you know, for us or for, I mean, if you want to shout out your homie, bro, feel free. We will read all of the donations and super chats at the end of today's show, so definitely keep that in mind. Don't worry, we're not ignoring your super chat. We are going to be keeping it for later. All right, so with that being said, let's get into our first topic for today. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a funny one here today. I know a card that nobody was expecting to be coming to Dokkan Battle. We have the brand new free-to-play Trunks and Broly. Now, if you guys have not been in the know for this card, Champa, who is that guy?
That's the one. I put him in the wrong order, apparently.
Look at all these cool cards we're going to talk about today.
I
know. Bro gave us, like, the, you know, at the end of the anime episode where they give you a preview.
Yeah, it's a quick highlight reel.
That's funny. So obviously, with the release of the brand new Trunks and Broly, these guys awaken from the tech Trunks that we got, what was that, like a couple weeks ago or a month ago or something like that, from the quest mode, right? And obviously, these guys are joined on one card because, of course, you know, they team up in the quest mode. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of people who aren't, like, in the Dokkan space normally, we're like, wait, Dokkan's doing what if cards now? We're kind of confused about this, but obviously this is because of what's going on in the story, and as well because these guys have the certain potential system that they do, they should actually Dokkan Awaken into a LR, which is very exciting to see that there's still more to come for this card. So before I give my thoughts, because I got a couple of things to say, more so on the animation department and also that funny little cutscene movie that we got about them. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. So Mass Ningen, my boy, what are we thinking about this?
I was going to say, I'll go first because I'll be quite brief because obviously I'm not on JP. So I've seen like some of the advanced like previews of them. I was very confused because when we saw their animations, I thought that the first one was going to be like an active skill or an intro or something, but it's obviously not actually part of the card at the moment, right? So it's quite interesting. One thing I will say, which I think is really funny, like you said, it's based on the story of like the Dokkan quest mode, which I mean, bonus points to anyone in the chat if you can actually explain like what is going on in the story of the Dokkan quest mode, because I think I stopped paying attention to that a long time ago. The only thing I do remember is one of the things I was talking about when the unit came out and we saw their details, because shout out to Minato, I think yours were the first like translations that I saw get posted for the full thing, but obviously the fact they're on Power of Wishes, because the very beginning of the quest mode is like a wish being made on the Dragon Balls that brings you as the like quote unquote like main character into the game and is what like merges all the timelines. So the only reason why Broly and Trunks are even there at the same time is a direct result of the wish at the beginning of the story mode. But in terms of the card, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool that they're doing stuff like this. It obviously makes me more hopeful because we've seen instances of it in the past for things like Dokkan original, actual like Dokkan fests and LR like summonable units and stuff. And yeah, the potential to become an LR, I think that's very cool. Their kit definitely has that really good base for whether it was going to be them getting an EZA or them being an LR, which obviously is what we're all leaning towards is the most likely. Because I think I'll let Minato go into the more details of everything they're doing and like numbers wise and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing I will say based on like the skeleton of their kit is all of those medium chances, you bump those all up to high, and then already like this unit is going to be looking pretty good. So I think they are very, very interesting. They build up damage reduction within the turn and that kind of thing. So what will be very interesting though is Dokkan, as we know, with these free-to-play characters, when they get awakenings and stuff, they can add categories to them, but they don't like take categories away from them. And so it's interesting that they're on full power because is like the Super Saiyan 1 Broly, like before he goes like berserk, is he on full power? Like, is there even a card of him in the game other than that physical free to play one? So I have seen some people speculating that like their LR awakening could be Super Trunks and Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, which would be kind of cool.
That would be sick.
But yeah, other than that,
blue-haired Broly, right?
Yeah.
Like the one that's
because it's weird that they're on full power currently, because it's like normal Super Saiyan Trunks and then Super Saiyan Broly, right? So
he is considered regular Super Saiyan because Int Broly, the Dokkan Fest one, the like SSR of him is the blue-haired Broly, and he is not on full power.
Right?
Maybe Trunks is technically.
I just think it's probably something with the story, right?
Yeah, because they get the energy, but that's in that cutscene that isn't part of the unit yet. So it's just kind of interesting that they're on full power already. But then obviously when they awaken into an LR, they could stay in these forms, and then the full power is just coming from that animation that we've already seen, which I would assume would maybe be like an active skill or something. I don't know. But yeah, Minato, I'll let you take it away with the more details and stuff. But yeah, I think they look cool. I'm looking forward to them doing more stuff like this. I like blue hair Broly, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they become.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that's going to be an intro, and I don't think that this unit would actually become full power. I think it's just going to be Super Saiyan Trunks and Broly. But
interesting. That'll still be cool. Yeah.
I think that they look pretty cool. I like their link set. I like the overall like what if of the character. Trunks and Broly's. It's like interesting because I guess in the sense Broly's legendary form was actually based off of Super Trunks, if I'm not mistaken. So it would be cool to see a Super Trunks and legendary Super Saiyan Broly card in the future.
True.
Right now, Ningen, like you said, the card is pretty solid, right? They are very RNG dependent, though, right? They're like either they snowball and they become really good, actually, or they don't and they become like kind of mediocre, right? Their attack stats are quite low, like ranging from like 2 to 3-ish million attack stats, which they could do multiple in a turn, but probably wouldn't want to see like a higher attack stat there, which could easily be fixed when they become an LR. So I'm not really worried about it right now. So looking at their defensive abilities, again, it really depends because again, with each super attack, they can get the damage reduction of 8%, and then the extra 31% attack and defense. So, like for example, one turn, I had them double super. We were on Power Wishes with Bulma support, and they got to around I think that's 660k defense with 12% reduction, which as a TUR, that's pretty solid. I think overall, considering what they can do. But then, one turn I had Bulma support active from the previous turn. MVP 17 on rotation. I had every link active except for Super Saiyan and Shattering Limit, right? I think I had them linked with like STR Super Vegeta or something, like the pre-fusion version. And they got a quad super. Then I went ahead and did the math on the side right there, and I'm pretty sure I got the math right? It's very simple. They got to apparently 1.2 million defense with the 32% damage reduction. But again, that's them getting all 4 super attacks with 17 and Bulma. So it's like it's a lot to set up, but it's not like like that's like imagine they become an LR. They got high chances of super attack. and then like you're on Power of Wishes, that could be like somewhat realistic thing to see. Like running 17 on Bulma, it's not like you're dragging the team down by doing that, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. So I don't know. From their EZA, I just want them to become more consistent. I mean, fingers crossed. I think the most important change that could potentially be made is changing it from per super attack performance. Imagine it's just per attack performance, and they
Yes.
guarantee
That'd be
gets
nice.
extra stats in the reduction.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. So even if they don't change it, the super attack chances from medium to high chance, you still get the guaranteed stats and reduction by just doing the additional. I think that would be a really huge change if they, whenever they do awaken into an LR, which is confirmed. Omatsu did confirm that in the little JP like producer letter thing, but then
Oh,
obviously
really?
they have, yeah, they also have the
Ah.
normal stats, right?
Interesting.
5,000 hit potentials.
Because yeah, I thought it was the hidden potential thing was why everyone thought they were going to LR. So I didn't realize it was
Well,
actually
yeah.
confirmed. So that's cool.
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
don't remember them saying that either, but
yeah, that's a reason too.
Interesting.
But it was actually officially confirmed in case people were worried.
Okay.
all right, that'd be
But another thing to consider is that you may look at the numbers of these stats and you're like, why are they hitting like 1.2 mil defense, right? But remember, they get these special equips that give them tons of defense. So I have a level 8 bronze defense on them. Then I have a level 5 silver defense on them, right? It's silver and attack. Then gold, silver, and attack. The gold gives them 1,500 stats. The silver gives them 1,000, and the bronze gives them 800, not 1,800. So they get over, what is that? Over 3,000 and over 3,000 like stats, 3,300, I think, just extra defense and attack to their just pure stats,
that's a
which
W.
is so influential. I
Mm.
built mine full
Yeah.
additional, so I mean, I'm hoping that this unit could become really good when they EZA in terms of like their performance in game, and I'm actually very excited. I said EZA, but become an LR. I mean, imagine they LR and then EZA.
I was
on top of
just
that.
going to say, imagine if they
Oh,
become an
man.
LR and then get an
I mean-
EZA. That'd be crazy.
I guess it's possible, right?
It's not impossible, right?
Yeah. I would hope that they
I
would
would
just
hope
be
they
good out the
wait.
gate, but
Yeah, I would hope they just wait and make him good right now. That would be sick. But
yeah.
the equipment that they gave him was huge, right? I didn't expect to get that good equipment, but it's like the LR Vegeta Blue equip. But honestly, it's kind of better than the LR Vegeta Blue's equips. So that's good.
Yeah, which is good. Definitely very excited to see what these guys become. Obviously, for me, right, since I'm always about the funny animations.
Yep, let's hear the
see it-
thoughts. Let's see.
Oh man, dude! Like, first of all, just seeing anything like kind of what if. Like, I know we technically can't really call this a what if card because, like, I mean, I guess you can, right? But it's like obviously it's based on the story of Dokkan Battle.
Yeah.
Obviously, just seeing Broly and Trunks fight together is like, it's really because obviously it's just a combo you never see. I talked about a little bit on Twitter that they did a great job, like, kind of interweaving Broly attacking in the actual super attack into what they had as the base for Trunks' animations without like compromising it looking like really weird with Broly being in there.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a good job with that. I mean, I'm sure that's because the super attacks were made at the same time, right? So they kind of were able to have that like foresight. But obviously, I know the big thing is what you were talking about earlier, which was that quest mode cutscene where what is it like? Paragus, Raditz, Nappa, Chaozu, Tien, and Piccolo, right? And Yamcha. I think I forgot Yamcha. They all like give Broly and Trunks their energy. Which, first of all, I love all of the comments on that video when that was posted. It was like, bro, who are they fighting that they need Trunks and Broly to receive energy from these people to be able to beat, bro? Because like this guy must be crazy strong. But obviously, the animation was very well done, and I know a lot of people are speculating that that will probably be like their intro or their active skill or something like that, which I think is definitely likely, right? Because a lot of the time, when it comes to these Dokkan animations, especially the cutscenes, they love to, take them from something else. Like a lot of the cutscenes in the game are either like, super attack animations or active skills or, like the support memories also then become the cutscenes in different events and stuff like that. So I'm not even like just guessing. I'm anticipating at this point that that's going to be an animation for the LR.
Oh yeah, an
So that would
intro
be cool.
for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah,
by the way, I remember you fight Hachiak in the stores. That's
you're
pretty.
right. That is who
Ah.
they're fighting. Yeah, you're fighting.
Oh yeah,
Hachiak
because
in that one.
wasn't
So I
he
guess
in
that
that
makes sense.
video or something?
He was. There was a bunch of Hachiak assets in the data
Yeah.
download. Again, you can tell the three of us don't read the quest.
I mean, I just know because I had to play the stage. Like, I spent like 20 stones refreshing for the
Why?
equips in that stage.
Yeah, the
Oh.
equips are farmable, aren't they? And you have to get
Yeah, and
the
they
best
have
ones.
Gotcha.
terrible drop rates.
Fun. Lovely.
Awful drop rates.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I am very excited for these guys to LR. It's going to be very cool. I didn't even think about their art is going to be insane. Seeing the two of them in like the LR art style is going to
Yeah.
be crazy, but that will be very, very
I
exciting.
just hope, like, for me, the art is more centered, so it's easier to make thumbnails. Because I have to like erase Broly and then bring.
Yeah,
up
dude,
Vega
that's
to
what I
erase
did. Yeah, I
Trunks.
had to like, you get it the size you want, and then like copy the layer, then rub out Broly, then put the other layer back on and rub out Trunks. Yeah,
Exactly.
Nah, I feel that, bro. It was so frustrating too because obviously it's just like whatever particular asset they decide to use like in the game, but only Broly got a story asset from this card art. So there isn't like a story asset version of just Trunks. If there would have been, then we would have had two separate PNGs that you could have like put whichever mismatched way that you want.
Yeah.
But because it's only Broly, it's like, well, so I know the Photoshop.
Yay!
Oh man.
I didn't even see the Broly assets. So I did even more work.
Oh well. I mean, it happens, bro. You can't catch everything, obviously. But yeah, I was kind of interested by that. But to be fair, again, that's just like literally whatever asset they pop up when they're actually like telling you the story. So obviously, it's not like it has to be there or anything like that. But anyhow, that is the boys Trunks and Broly. Very, very exciting to see what they have next. Let's talk about some more units that we got before we move on to the big boy thing that we got in the most latest JP update, which was really the main thing. Oh boy, let's talk about the big man on the thumbnail, the boy Jiren. STR Jiren obviously just got his EZA.
Midran.
Oh man, so obviously, we have been on the hype train question mark of kind of negative EZAs recently, where a lot of people have been really disappointed with the result of these EZA characters. Obviously, right before this, we had Int Goku Black, who was also very disappointing, and obviously now we have Jiren. I personally, before, because I'll let Minato and Ningen take it away more about the kit, but I know for me personally, I was pretty disappointed about this guy because I have a big soft spot for this guy in my heart. First of all, he's like one of 3 Jiren units in the game or something like
I
that.
love Jiren.
I really like Jiren too, personally. I like Jiren. I know he's not necessarily like a fan favorite character for everybody, but I personally like the boy. And not to mention, this was like the first unit for me where I was really just like cooking on dupes to the point where like in my early Dokkan YouTube days, it became a meme that I pulled so many copies of this guy and I rainbowed him twice. Like, I literally have 2 rainbow copies of this guy in my box. Shout out to Calc, basically doing that sort of thing. And funny enough, I gave him full dodge back then when dodge was a joke, and now that's not even a joke of a build. Like, I can just use that build normally. So, needless to say, I was ready to EZA this guy twice for both copies that I have rainbowed, and unfortunately, I don't think I'll be doing that with the EZA. So, Minato, how are we feeling about this guy? I know you have some strong feelings towards the boy Jiren.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. He sucks. Like, that's it. He just sucks. He's just bad. Mid, terrible, garbage. Bro does like 6 mil super effective and thinks he's cooking. Bro does like 700k defense, thinks he's cooking. I took him against Zamasu Goku Black Red Zone. This dude, well, first off, against Zamasu, like that's just the normal Zamasu super attack. He had like the Android support, and then he took like 530k from the super attack.
Yikes.
And then that super attack doesn't even hit hard. It hits for 1.2 mil. Which is kind of crazy saying that like 1.2 mil isn't really that hard hitting anymore, but it isn't.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he couldn't even tank normals from the final phase. He took like 150k damage from these normals. And like against the Goku Black and Zamasu fight. So it's like, wow, you can't even tank normals in some of the hardest bosses because you
Yeah.
suck. And uh, it's like, you know, if it was like a sub-EZA, I'd be like, you know, he's okay. But he's a Dokkan Fest character, and he's like
Yeah.
the only.
Right.
He's quite literally the only summonable Jiren named character we have. So it's just
Wait, what about
very-
LR Jiren?
LR Jiren is Jiren full power.
Oh, you mean gotcha by name? Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha,
by
gotcha.
name,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
Jiren,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's that does suck. That he sucks, and it's like even when we get like a tournament participants boss that's like really difficult, it's gonna be a situation where, you know, I mean, let's say 9th anniversary we get that, it's just gonna be a more power with bosses, so it's like
Yeah.
he's still gonna suck anyways. um he gets his damage reduction against multiple enemies, which you could just stun them anyway, so guess what, the damage reduction doesn't even matter if he stuns them,
Yeah.
which is also really stupid. And yeah, I don't know why the damage reduction, like 30% is not a lot, but it was just locked behind 2 more enemies. They're just like, he just sucks. They just did not care, which sucks. I am a hashtag Jiren lover, and he did me wrong. So very, very unfortunate. I have nothing else to say. I didn't even take him against Zamasu, like the fusion Zamasu. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's gonna suck in there because he gets everything on super. So like, what's the point of showing him like where he's gonna be ass? Like, you're gonna use him where you want to use him. So.
Yeah. Sag. Ningen, you got anything about this guy? I know you're a hashtag Jiren hater on the
Yep.
opposing side. So.
Yep, I'm preying on that Jiren downfall, but yeah, Jiren is a lame character, so he got a lame EZA, no surprise.
Hey, hey.
But yeah, so it sucks. I made a tweet about it when he came out, and I saw some of the discussion. I know we're going to talk about this a bit later on because it ties into the one of the later segments. But like, I saw one of the things that I think is really annoying is that, to me, I know I talked about this a bit in one of my own videos. I don't want to like go over loads of stuff I've already said, but like, they may not have directly advertised it as this, I guess. So you could say, you know, it's not supposed to officially be that, but like, I thought we were kind of all under the impression, I guess, as a community, at least from the start, maybe that's fallen to the wayside way earlier than now, and we should not be surprised, but EZAs are supposed to be a thing where you take an old unit that is not really usable anymore, and then you make it so that they're usable in the current meta, or at least they don't have to be like the best unit in the game every time, obviously, but
Yeah.
you know, at least runnable. And the way I would look at it is, if an EZA comes out in a certain celebration, they should be good for the content in that celebration. Or, you know, at least if you're the unit that's coming out right after the worldwide, you should be good in the content that came out during the worldwide celebration. So the thing that was kind of annoying is I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, well, you know, he was only ever a Super Battle Road unit, so of course his EZA, like, he's still just a Super Battle Road unit. But it's like, well, why give him an EZA then? Like, we don't need another Super Battle Road unit. Like, the Universe Survival Saga stage is already out for both versions, the Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road. So yeah, maybe some people haven't done it yet, but like, he's not needed as a Super Battle Road unit. He should have had some sort of ability, because like Minato was saying, even though I don't like Jiren like as a character, he is the only base Jiren other than the free-to-play one. So it would be nice if he was actually good. The only thing I can kind of think of, and I don't think it is a good excuse for making a bad EZA, is the fact that because his unit is so old, I could obviously expect that, you know, because he has so few units in the game, we could get a new Jiren sometime soon, and then, you know, it wouldn't be as bad because you probably wouldn't be running the EZA one anyway. But as I said, that's not an excuse to then just give him a bad EZA, right? So I think it is very disappointing. Yeah, I mean, like, he's only going to be good in Super Battle Road, and they didn't upgrade the chance to stun, so it's still just medium. So even back when we were using him in Super Battle Road, I had runs where he just didn't ever stun all the enemies. So it's a little bit disappointing. And then, yeah, of course, they gave him that ability where he gets the extra buffs against a certain type of enemy, and then basically didn't release any content where you fight those enemies, right? So it's just a bit on the weird side. Very disappointing. Yeah, don't really know what else to say. He's I was watching Minato stream when he finished the EZA and did a bit of like testing with him, and yeah, he's just very very disappointing. So yeah,
I had nothing to say. I was trying to think of what to say, but he's just bad.
That's unfortunate, man.
I was like, well maybe.
You know, I feel like a broken record saying this because I know I said this with Goku Black, but I feel like it's also just so disappointing because, you know, with these EZAs like this is like the unit's one chance to be good again and to be relevant and not just sit in your box for the rest of eternity and collect dust. Proverbial dust, I guess, in this case, digital dust, if you will. But, you know, it's just so unfortunate because now they just never have a chance to be good again. Unless they make an EZA 2. But
I would say we don't actually have this on our little like outline here to talk about.
That's
because I'm not sure if Ningen even saw that, but JP did get the post Worldwide Celebration survey. I don't know why Global didn't get it yet, but JP got theirs already.
I think Global usually gets it a little later.
Yeah,
for some reason, but
they did mention again, making that's two things. One, should we make EZA characters like one of the options was make EZA characters that
Minato, we'll talk about it later. Don't worry, it'll be in the trash text section.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I know, I'm sorry. That was my bad. I didn't mention.
Oh, I didn't look at it. Okay.
Yeah,
so it is an outline. Never mind. I'm so sorry.
Yes, it is. Technically, it's in the outline, but not real, but sorta. You know.
Well, I'll bring it up later. Okay.
Yeah. Don't you worry. Yeah, because we'll have a whole for our trash take. It is related to EZAs, which is very fitting.
Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Because that survey will be relevant to our partner.
I am not off the rails.
Okay. He was fine, bro. That was my bad for I forgot to mention that was mentioned.
Hello.
Nah, he wasn't topic. He was cooking, bro. Don't worry. He wasn't burning it.
Chat just wants to attack me. That's it.
No, the chat's right. Minato's off the rails. He's gone rogue.
Listen to the global player here. Oh my goodness.
The best.
You know, honestly, this is the it's always so funny because I always forget that me and Minato are both JP. I'm so used to being surrounded by more global people.
It's me alone. I'm the last bastion for global.
Oh man. Well, along with the funny screaming boy Jiren, we did get some sub-EZAs. And ironically enough, a lot of these EZAs are actually better than Jiren himself, which is kind of whack, honestly. But
true.
I guess that's a good thing because I mean at least some of the EZAs are good, and not to mention, right, a lot of the you know, like Tournament of Power characters from you know, other universes and whatever, you know, to obviously make the team better, right? Like the Universe 6 team, which obviously that was where all the sub-EZAs came from this time. They kind of needed to be good. So I'm not sure who we have up first here actually. Who's first up on the chopping block here, Ningen?
I have all of the images ready to go, so whichever one you want to start with, I can bring that one up first.
Sure. All right, I get to choose.
Let's go. Man, you're the host. You're the main host this week. Let's bring it.
Here's the worst one.
I wasn't gonna choose I was just gonna say let's just start with Champa because he's the first one on the brain, and personally, I think he was the one that I was probably the most excited for, just because I don't know. I used Champa a lot back in the day. And obviously he is a very good unit for the Universe 6 team, being a little bit of a support unit. Obviously now he even buffs himself. And also I think the only Champa card in the game besides the free-to-play one, right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Ningen, how are we feeling about this guy?
I mean, he definitely seems quite interesting. He is obviously just I say just, but he's just a support unit. You ideally would want to run him on the team, float him in slot 3. So they gave him some pretty interesting abilities in it. I think it is kind of funny. Obviously, his start of turn attack is really low, so it's not as crazy as it sounds. But I think he's like the only card that can get up this high, right? Like if you get all of his RNG like procs, he has 1,000% attack, which is pretty crazy. Because wasn't it the highest one before was like was it the Tech Roshi that's like 628%, like once like only that. Or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy can get up to like 1,000%. But I think it was it might be the homie Proton who I think is in the chat, but he was saying like even if you get all of those procs on a turn where he has like a bunch of his links active and potentially even support, he only gets up to, it's like 8 million, which is still decent for a support unit. But like when you see like 1,000% attack, you think like, oh my God, this guy's going to be going insane. But it's because obviously his start of turn attack is low. So obviously a very high percentage for a low number is still going to give, well, not a low number, but like I say, I think him being a third slot floating support unit that is still then able to actually do some pretty funky damage is cool. Obviously, if you don't get the RNG procs, he's not going to be doing a lot of damage. But I think for a unit like him, I think it's okay. Because like if he was a unit that was supposed to be on your team to be a damage dealer, but then if you got bad RNG, he did bad damage, then that would suck, and like why would you use him? But he's on the team to be a support unit, and if you get lucky, he can actually do some reasonable damage numbers for a unit that's just on the team to give support. So I do think he is pretty fun. Obviously he's not like, you know, a defensive god, but as a support unit, I think he like fits the bill well enough, right? So I think he is pretty good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. I was excited for this guy personally too, because obviously since the Universe 6 team is kind of limited, it's nice that they even have a support unit. Some teams like don't even have a slot 3 floater support unit that could definitely use it, and are bigger categories too, which is kind of funny. But talking about the sub-EZAs though, Minato, I want to hear your opinions on STR Frost, the next character up on the chopping block. That thing, slander the bot. By the way, of course, whenever we talk about Frost, gotta shout out the boy Dandre. But STR Frost, how are we feeling about this guy? The only Frost in the game besides the SR as well too.
He might be like okay if he like.
Wait, isn't there the Kale Banner unit, the tech one, that has Golden Frieza in the art? But he's technically just Frost. Yeah, I only just pulled him for the first time randomly on like Turles' banner, I think.
You know what's funny? I don't even have him. I only did one multi-kills banner and never pulled him on featured either. So listen, bro, he may as well not exist. The tech one, he doesn't exist. In fact, this is the only one.
I just I don't know. He seems like he's just a unit that I don't really like. It's like maybe I'll have decent stats. He'll probably be better stat wise than Jiren, maybe because he has multiplicative. He has much higher multiplicative stats. So I would assume like he would potentially reach like around like maybe a middle defense level if he triple supers, and then you get like triple crit or anything. Attack wise, I don't know how hard he's gonna actually hit. I haven't used him yet, so this is just me judging based off of what he's looking like.
Gotcha.
And it's like, I don't know. He just looks very basic. He's just literally just stats and RNG dependent stats. Where like, oh, if you get the high chance to super, you know, maybe it could be interesting in a triple supers. But if it gets like one super attack off, I could see him cap out like at 700k defenses range. Maybe he does like a 8 mil attack stat and then you know, peak a triple super, and it's like, okay, but then you know, what is he actually doing to benefit you to run him on the team besides just being like a filler option you just throw on the team if you don't have anyone else, right? Which, you know, at this point, units kits are getting so like, how do I explain it? They're getting so vastly like, you know, different with all these different mechanics that it's like you want to bring a unit that's providing something else to the team. Or if it's like Frost was like a mega good damage dealer, maybe, but he's not going to be beating some of the units that are going to be really good. I mean, I guess right now, like tournament participants, Universe 6 sucks, so those teams could get any help that they can have, which is nice. And he's a sub-EZA, so I say he sucks, but at the end of the day, he's like a solid option. But he's not really providing anything that I'm like gonna go out of my way and be like, yep, I love this guy, right? You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe when I actually use him, my opinion changes. And if you have him next to like the Tech Frost, maybe he'll look like really good, but it's like kind of a very unrealistic scenario. So
Plus, then you'd have to run the Tech Frost, so you know.
Yeah. Look, I kind of want to see someone do a video. I don't know. I don't even know that maybe the first Del Battle video to do 0 views because nobody cares about Frost. But the Frost and Frost rotation, low key, someone should make that as a video because I think that would be
someone in chat
an
is saying
one.
that. I mean, I'm just looking at chat too. Someone in chat saying that their attack stat is way higher than what I'm saying. So I mean, if he's doing like 12, 13, and 14 mil or something, then it's like, you know, mate, that's actually good, right? You know.
Yeah, because he's going to be like, I
For
mean,
sub
obviously,
EZA.
like you said, the Universe 6 team and even kind of like the tournament of participants team aren't exactly the best team. So it's like, if you are even running him on the team, he's going to be a floater, I would assume. So he's not
Yeah.
providing
So
support. So ideally, you're already really going to run him if he is doing damage that is like worth him having that slot on the team, right?
Yeah.
being fair, I mean, 180% attack on super is a big number. And then he has 17,000.6 attack stat, right? Maybe he'll be interesting. Maybe I'm underrating him. You know, sometimes it happens, right? And not everyone's gonna be right, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'll probably try him out. I'm still actually link leveling him, funny enough, right? I'm link leveling some of these characters here. But I'll try him out, and then I guess I'll have a full opinion later on my own channel.
There you go. You're underrating the GOAT. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, a million defense on triple supers. That's what I thought around that defensive level. But it's like, at the end of the day, if he does like,
You did. Interesting.
12 mil into normal, and then he dies because he has 700k defense, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, Dokkan World did Frost and Frost, so
Yeah.
that's probably why people
I will have to watch that video. Man. I will have to watch that video.
I'm
I hope
saying-
that video did well, because man, like I just feel like nobody cares about Frost.
I mean, we'll see, because he just isn't really doing anything that's like, oh, he looks like super special, right? And I bet like we love Dokkan World, but like he probably had like STR cooler and then Tech Frost like side to side next to this boy, and he's looking good. People are like, oh wow, he's really strong. And then
Of
when you
course,
actually
bro.
use him and like real content without terrible units, he's like, right?
He's cracked. Listen, bro, that's just how he is normally. It's fun.
Mm.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, bro. All right. We did have one final sub-EZA, unless I'm forgetting
The
somebody.
true
I don't think
GOAT.
I am. The true GOAT. So I actually want to hear both of your opinions on this guy, because I know a lot of people were really looking forward to this unit. Int Aboda Mageda got his EZA, a very, very goofy card. A very, very beloved card as far as I'm concerned in the Dokkan community. I want to hear both of you guys' opinion on this. Since we're just flopping back and forth, Ningen, what do you think of this guy first?
I was gonna say Minato. If you've used him, you can go first.
Oh, then
if you
yeah,
want,
Minato,
'cause,
go for it.
I've obviously read his details like when they came out, but if you've had a chance
Again,
to use him,
I haven't had the chance to use sub-EZA, so if you want to go first, you can. But I think we'll have very similar opinions on this unit. I mean, I think he looks good, but I'll let you go in detail if you want.
yeah. So I'm just getting his details back up here so I can see them again. But yeah, his I remember seeing it and thinking like, obviously with some of these sub-EZAs and even Jiren's EZA, right there, we get some of these EZAs where you like read what they do and straight away you're just like, oh, okay. Whereas I read this guy's one and I thought, oh, he actually could be quite good for like Kale's team, because he is essentially the kind of unit that you want for her team, right? So he obviously has the extra, he has decent start of turn stats. You get extra defense for Universe 6 allies, which obviously is going to be primarily, well, I guess not, because she does have some other good units, right? But you're going to have Universe 6 units on Kale's team. But then they guard if there's a Universe 6 ally on the rotation, and they are a unit that you basically kind of want to be putting in slot 1, right? They get hit and then they get that buff for 3 turns and get a chance to launch an additional super. So if they're in slot 1, they guard, they get hit. You obviously can unfortunately get those kind of situations with those units where the first attack of the turn could be a super, which would be unfortunate. But you want to get, ideally you get 1 normal, then you get your buff for the turn, you get the chance to additional super, and then they have, I think it's like a 6 turn stack potentially in their super. So if they get hit in slot 1 and you get the hidden potential, then obviously they could potentially super 3 times. So you get all those extra defense raises, and then obviously that with guard means that they have the potential to be a reasonably good slot 1 unit. And obviously that was the big thing that Kale needed, right? Because until she transforms, then you can put her in slot 1. But before she transforms, you not really, I mean, you can kind of get away with it in some situations, maybe, especially with like type advantage, but she obviously gets the damage reduction when she's super attacking. So you want her to be in slot 2. So yeah, them being a unit that can comfortably sort of go in slot 1 is pretty good for Kale's team. They seem solid overall. I mean, again, like I say, being not on JP, I've only seen the details and they seem good to me. I haven't seen an actual showcase or anything of them yet. So hopefully, obviously, the thing that's going to be the real indicator of how good they are is when you take them into the actual difficult content and we start seeing them actually taking the hits from these bosses, right? Because it's like, you know, if they're on a full Universe 6 team and they're getting all their buffs, and let's assume the first attack isn't a super in slot 1, like what kind of damage are they taking from like Fusions and Masu, for example, and stuff like that. So, I mean, they seem pretty interesting. And for a sub-EZA, I think to get a unit that seems this good on paper as a sub-EZA, I think is a W, especially when we look at how Jiren turned out. So yeah, they definitely seem pretty cool to me. So
yeah. I would agree with that. I'm glad. I mean, Nato, are you feeling about the same there?
Yeah, pretty much, right? I mean, I think that of all the characters, I was the most impressed with how Thyssen as a kid is. I didn't really like when I saw them originally. I was like, okay, like speculating what their EZA could look like. I was thinking they're gonna have probably the same like 80% under or like an ally like that, and it did end up being Universe 6. Universe 6 definitely needs, I think, more, but like with these sub-EZAs, right? Let's say, you know, if you're not in a fight that has AoE attacks, because Kale is not really good in those. Well, and Omega Kale's fine, but like the Fusions of Masu fight is like the only fight where I feel like this team could really struggle. But you could have Kale, you could have LRK and Caulifla, then you have, you know, the tech, the STR Frost even could be an okay option, right? Champa, and then Bodamagetta. And then let's say you put like, I don't know, Tech Caulifla on the team or something, or like God Goku you could throw on the team, and it's like, you know, you have a bunch of these Universe 6 characters that could work pretty nicely together. You could always get his guard ability. He gets the he doesn't no, I guess the only thing is that he does get the multiplicative 60% stats. If you get a lot of additionals off, he could get really high defense with the guards. That's very impressive.
Yeah, he's good. I'm glad because I know a lot of people were looking forward to this one. I can't believe that we live in a timeline where we could say that Bodamagetta is better than Jiren. But here we are.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, quite literally should have just given Jiren the. And honestly, give Jiren 50% reduction. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said
you
said the exact same thing that I said when I read his details. It's like Jiren has 30% damage reduction, but only against 2 or more enemies. Why doesn't he just have that all the time? Like, even just giving him that doesn't suddenly make him like, oh my god, he's the best EZAT you are now. Like, that seems like the least they could have done is just give him the straight up 30% damage reduction, or even more potential. Like, yeah, like give him like 30% damage reduction, and then if there's 2 or more enemies, give him like another 20% or something. So he is like the super battle road god, even though you're not going to use him potentially in that often, right? But yeah. Very disappointing.
I mean, if only you know, I mean, I guess the only thing that his EZA would really be beneficial for is, I guess, if you were a new player and you were running Super Battle Road, then obviously it would be more like, okay, well, I guess, you know, if you haven't done it yet, and, you know, then you're trying to cook with them on there, then of course, I guess that would be beneficial. But for us, you know, who've been playing the game for mad long and obviously have all that content done already, obviously it's not that helpful. But yeah, I do agree, though. I thought that was a little silly that... I mean, I'm sure that like the whole thing with Jiren and like the, you know, facing one enemy and facing 2 enemies, I'd have to imagine that it's like kind of supposed to be a reference to him fighting Goku and then him fighting Goku and Vegeta. That was kind of like what I thought when I saw that, because obviously they like to do the little funny references in the kits to, you know, what's happening with the unit. But at the same time, as cool as that is, it doesn't help the unit be good. So I would much rather him just, you know, have all of that unconditionally. But, you know, it is what it is. But speaking of EZAs, Global also got a new EZA this week, which I actually completely forgot that was not on Global when this originally hit. I see Minato's already sleeping on this EZA. We have the boy Goten and Trunks, aka the Tech Go Bros.
Sorry, Goten and Trunks?
Did I say Goten? Oh, I meant Goten
you
and
said
Gohan.
Goten,
You know,
sorry.
it's so funny. I swear, whenever I see a unit with 2 cards, I call it the wrong name. Like Vegeta and Trunks, I swear I kept calling
Oh
it
my
Goku and Trunks
goodness.
or something. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness. I'm so
You good?
stupid.
You good?
Nato's having a
I've been
moment.
link leveling this entire podcast, but I realized I took the team that I showcased Trunks and Broly on, and now my link level.
Minato
Whoopsie!
L. L's in chat, boys.
It's been like 40 minutes and I've only used 2 stones, so it's not like
Oh,
oh my
no.
goodness, life's over. But it's just I didn't think it.
2 stones over, life
Oopsie.
done.
But it's just been wasted link leveling because they're all link level 10.
That's
Oh
unfortunate. I
my
mean,
goodness.
oh wait, you already ranked 999. I was gonna say you're not
Yup.
even ranking
Oof.
up.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
hell,
fine. Let me just
hell,
fix this. I'm unbelievable.
unfortunate. But yeah, so obviously Global got this EZA just this week with LR EZA, Goten, and Trunks. Since Minato's fixing his fumble.
Plus, it is global, you know. So
That's true. You are the global player. That's true. That's true.
yeah. So yeah, man. I really wanted to like this unit, or really wanted to like this EZA. Like when they came out on JP, I did see people, I would say maybe underrating them a little bit, at least for when they released on JP. But I think the biggest problem with them for global is they are a victim of this situation that we're in at the moment until we get the sync, right? Where they are just a victim to the global schedule, because on JP, the Turles celebration, where they got their EZA, right? The celebration has been mostly the same, was before the worldwide download celebration.
Right.
So for global, they've come out after the worldwide celebration, and basically all of the new difficult content that released during the worldwide, they're not good in, because they're a unit that needs to build up over time. I mean, in total, to get their full passive, they need to attack 10 times. So even with the best possible RNG, now fortunately it's attack and not super attack, but it means even with the best possible RNG, you're not getting their final stat upgrade until their 3rd appearance. And then even then, if you get really bad RNG, they'll have only attacked 9 times by the end of their 3rd appearance, right? So like in the new events, like that's just not good enough, because you know, like we'll forget about Fusion Zamasu because, you know, he's typed his advantage, he's doing 500k AoEs, like that's a terrible event for them already anyway. But even type neutral, like you take them into events like the Cell one, the Goku Black, who starts off as STR, like, you know, they are a unit that needs to build up. So slot 2, because they're not slot 1 unit, obviously. Put them in slot 2, maybe get lucky and get like 4 supers in the first turn. Then, you know, they raise defense with each super. They can still look like reasonably good, right? They get up to a level of defense that even on the first turn, they can potentially be tanking at least normals. But the biggest problem with them is they really are a unit that is going to be do or die for like the RNG. Because one of the things I think that was very eye-opening for me is I really wanted to get them in the game and get a chance to play around with them, because obviously if you're on global, you only can get so much from seeing stuff on Twitter, like seeing other people's showcases. I like to, you know, get hands-on with the units, and I really wanted them to be good, right? I wanted them to be one of those units that's like, oh, you know, maybe if I use them in the right setup and like do XYZ, they're going to look good. And I think one of the most disappointing things is my initial showcase for their EZA. I like to take units into the events that are a little bit longer and are not as hard, usually Red Zone Frieza or Red Zone Cell. So I took them into Red Zone Frieza, so you get a good chance for them to get fully built up, you get their passive, full, all their stats, you get to see what their numbers look like. And then unfortunately, the showcase ended by getting to tech full power Frieza. And whilst, you know, he's nowhere near the hardest boss in the game anymore, but I did double check it on the Dokkan info, his super attack still does like 1.3 million, and I think he raises attack as well, so it will actually do more than that. And then unfortunately, I got the turn where the Gobros did a super attack and then 3 normal attacks, and then got super attacked and took 1 million damage.
I
So,
see.
so it's like, man, even I brought them into this event that is like the perfect event for them. I had exactly enough time to get their passive fully built up, and then they had their worst possible RNG turn and then got super attacked. So it's just very, very unfortunate because I've always liked this unit. Like, obviously, they were a global first. I managed to pull them, which I think they came out, it was before the 4th anniversary, wasn't it? Which was like a saving grace for me because I got mega shafted on the 4th anniversary and didn't pull LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But these guys were a Goku family unit leader. So I was actually able to make like the Goku family team, even though I hadn't pulled LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So I really liked this unit. I really like the family Kamehameha. I know Broly's Second Coming is more of one of the more divisive like Dragon Ball movies. I know some people really don't like it, but I think it's cool. I really want to see a new like current quality animations family Kamehameha. But until we get that, like I was just really hoping that these guys EZA would be really good. And whilst I don't necessarily think their EZA is bad, it's just like I say, very, very unfortunate that they've released in this time slot for global, because all of the newest content that's just come out, they're just not really that great in it. Like they can still be good, but yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate. And I guess some of their teams, they get a bit restricted by like, you really need to be running them with a Goku, and they're on, you know, that. So it means that teams that would have benefited from them, like Hybrid Saiyans or Siblings Bond and stuff like that, that you kind of can't really, I mean, you can run them on those teams, but then they're going to be taking that hit of not having their full potential. So it is a bit of a shame. They're definitely usable, don't get me wrong. And obviously, you know, we've had the discussion now many times about for these tougher events, that's what your items are there for. So, I mean, I did do a run against Fusion Zamasu where I did win with a run with them on the team. But like, even using a Whis on turn 1, they're still taking like 220k from the AoE, which, you know, they're type disadvantage and everything, so we're not expecting them to be godly. But yeah, I mean, for the difficult content, you kind of have to protect them a little bit. But the one thing I will say, I know I've talked for ages, so I'll let Minato go, but like, the one thing I will say that is good is they do what they're there to do, which is to do damage, right? Because once you get them fully built up, you get turns where that 18 key super's doing like 24 million, and then they're doing additional supers that are doing like 13 and 14 million and stuff. So they do damage really well. But yeah, bad RNG and then like them eating a super and it's like GG. So bit disappointing, but you know, they're definitely usable. I definitely wouldn't say they are like a bad EZA, right? It's just unfortunate timing more so than anything.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I guess you could do is the only benefit of what we have now in terms of the running a Goku is you could run Godku, I guess, at least, because obviously he leads Pure Saiyans and hybrids, so I guess you do have that benefit.
Yeah, he is one of their 200% leaders, so you can run him in slot 1. But I think he only shares 2 links with them, but then obviously this is how I built the team. But then you can bring units in slot 3 to float that will share more links with them. So
that's true.
That team build does kind of work. And also they're on a few good 200%. I know they're on the in LR full power Goku on JP, who obviously we don't have. But yeah, I was using them on the Godku team. And then I think I made a build with them under the Boo Duo as well, because they share, I think, 4 or 5 links with them, and they're on their 200% team. So you have some okay options, but yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Minato, anything else about these guys?
I mean, they're good. But, you know, they came out, and then we got in Omega, then we got in Goku Black, then we got in Zamasu into Goku Black Zamasu, then we got in Fusion Zamasu, and it's like, oh, they suck in, well, they're fine in Omega, I guess, you can get away with them, but they pretty much suck in all these events, because they're tech. Like, tech units in general are getting, like, kind of messed around, unless they have reduction, or, you know, some defensive tech, which this unit does not. And especially since they're slot 2 super.
Yeah.
It's an issue with them making every difficult boss have an int phase and short for the most part, or AoEs. So or all at the same time, right? So this unit just gets absolutely screwed over by the game development.
Why is that?
Their fault. I don't know. They're like, yeah, just do int everywhere.
It's so weird. Someone's favorite color on the dev team is purple, bro. Maybe Toonami is working for the maybe Toonami's working for Akatsuki. I don't know, bro.
I'm just saying they just screwed this character over and it sucks in terms of like the bosses, the harder bosses that are available now. When they came out on JP, it was even before Omega, and it's like, oh, they cook, but then now in
Yeah.
Global, it's like, right? Just very funny. That's all I have to say. I think Ningen did everything else just well. Their build up
Yeah.
is too long. It should have just been cut in half like other
Yeah.
characters, but oh well.
I would have taken as well. Like, I know we often complain when units get this because we would rather it be permanent, but I'd even take them having like temporary, like they get extra damage, they get damage reduction, but for the turn, like for each of their supers, like that would help them significantly, right? Like imagine if they had the thing that like Trunks has, the Sword of Hope Trunks, right, where they get like 10% damage reduction per super up to 30. Like that would make them significantly better, because if they're fully built up and they're getting 3 supers, they're raising defense on each of those supers as well. Like if you throw that in then with 30% damage reduction, they could actually be very strong defensively, which would be super good. But
it would help them out a lot early on too.
yeah, true, because even in the early turns when they're then not built up, they're getting that little bit of damage reduction as kind of like a buffer.
Yeah.
So
One question again, because we were talking about builds. What build do you use? Because I use the Dragon Ball Z Duo Power Wishes. What
yeah,
is
so the one that I was running was the Boo Duo team. And then obviously they're on the team. I bought the GT Duo, because obviously if you can get the GT Vegeta out, them getting the like 80% support and then the links from him. And then running the AGL Kai Goku as their slot 1 partner. Because they don't share a lot of links, but they share all in the family, which is that big defensive link.
like,
and then if
what
you're
I did
floating
is,
both of the Boo Duo, that's where they're then getting most of their other links from, right, from slot 3. So, and that team did actually work out quite well. The only downside for me is sadly I only got the Kai Goku to 55%. So even though he is very good, obviously against some of the tougher bosses, he can still kind of get cooked a little bit. But yeah, I find there definitely are builds where you can make them work, right? So
like I had on the other rotation I had Bulma and Orange Piccolo, right? I assume you had that or something like that, where I had Bulma, Orange Piccolo.
Funnily enough, I didn't run Orange Piccolo on the team because there's no other Bond of Master and Disciple allies, and I didn't want him to get killed by Zamasu.
I was like, I didn't even care. I just ran him.
Yeah, fair.
But,
He's the go, bro.
He is the guy. Yeah.
That's back when Sin was the hardest fight, when they came out on JP. So that's obviously different, and you have more options now, right? Since it's post worldwide. But yeah, that's what I did running against Sin. Even though there's no Bond or Master or Disciple unit, he still like had the debuff, and he still was fine with Bulma support and stuff. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Interesting. Sounds good. Yeah.
Give me the new Family Kamehameha unit, because the one thing I really want to see is, obviously you can see in like the art that's up on the screen, like when it's not from the active skill, but when they do the active skill, it's from that like not first person, because it's the opposite, isn't it? But it's like towards the camera like view. Whereas obviously the classic image is the side on, like the 3 of them and the screen's all blue. It's kind of like the super attack that the old EZA TUR like standalone versions have.
Yeah.
Like imagine seeing that, but in like the current level quality animations. Like I want that unit, because the way they could get away with like having this unit still be runnable is bring out that unit, but then just have the unit be Trunks. You got me doing it now. I said Trunks. Bring that unit out and have the unit literally be Gohan, Goten, and Goku, so they have a different name. Cool. So then you can link them up with these guys. Like make them a slot 1 unit, and then have these guys in slot 2. And then that could be kind of cool. So just new Family Kamehameha animation soon, please, Dokkan.
Call it like call it like Goku Ghost or something like that. He's not Angel Goku,
because he's not technically really there, is he? Like it's
he's
another weird thing about the end of the second Broly movie, because
like it's not even like, in BoJack, like he teleports in from Otherworld to like punch BoJack to save Gohan, but like they never really like make it clear, like, is he actually there? Are they just like hallucinating because of the stress?
Yeah, because it's the whole thing where it's like Goten says like, I wish Dad was here, and I think they show the Dragon Balls, but obviously like the dragon doesn't appear or anything, but then like all of a sudden Goku's just there. And it's like, was he really there? Plus, also, I'm pretty sure we could spend ages talking about this, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But obviously, the movies, it's always kind of weird where do the movies fit into the timeline? But I'm pretty sure the second Broly movie is supposed to be before the world tournament starts, because obviously Gohan's already taught Videl how to fly, but so at that point Goten hasn't even met Goku, and he's just like, I wish Dad was here, which is
that's true.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that.
But it's still great. I still love it. Like, whether he's really there or not, I don't care. Like, I always, as a kid, like I say, I like the second Broly movie, even though I know it doesn't hold up super well, but some of those peak like hype moments, I always loved the triple like family coming to my house.
Okay, I got it. What happened is it's a situation where Vegeta didn't go Majin, and then they stopped Majin Buu's resurrection.
I see.
There you go.
I see.
Easy. That's what happened.
There you go. Low key, if that was the case, that would actually make sense why Goten knows him. Huh. All right. Well, high rest Toei, I guess.
I already know. I got you. I thought about this all the time when I was younger.
That's funny.
I was like, how would this fit into the time?
It was always funny to think about like where do the movies fit, because there are places where they kind of do, but then it becomes a bit weird for like some of the
like the Turles movie. I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah, the Turles one is just like, the early ones can be kind of confusing because it's all just like, well, before Namek, I guess, because there's no Super Saiyan. Like,
yeah, sometimes it's a little silly.
Well, it's like the original Broly one. It's like some point in the 10 days before the Cell games started is when it's set. Apparently, like, they just went off to another planet instead of continuing their training for the Cell games, you know?
That was their training for the Cell games, bro. They boxed Broly. You know, think about that too. Like, I guess that just means that, like, they literally fought a guy who maybe is arguably stronger than Cell before they fought Cell, which also kind of doesn't make sense.
I've seen all the old, like, power scale debate videos about the Broly versus Perfect Cell. Like, that's been a thing that's gone on for a long time. But yeah, the movies have that whole weird, like, continuity thing, don't they? Where it's like, the movies are their own self-contained thing. Because we're not going to get into that whole topic, but because the movies contain like feats that are like way beyond stuff that they do in the series. So it's like, so like the Goku that fights Broly in theory is way stronger than the Goku who's in the Cell games. But yeah, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, Broly Second Becoming, bit of a weird one. Check it out if you haven't seen it or give it a rewatch. But the family come out of my house hype. So give me a new one.
Very, very hype. On that I know we need to move on, but I was just gonna say the last thing I wanted to mention, talking about Broly Second Coming, bro. We need, and I know like we have so many like Broly cards at this point. I mean, we could always get more, but we still don't have an LR Broly from Broly Movie 1. Because I know I talked about this. Yeah. I talked about it on my own stream, and people are like, what about STR Broly? And I'm like, no, brother, he's the one from Second Coming. He's got the funny scar on his chest from where
Well, plus it's the thing where he like rises up out of the lava. Yeah, like, that's literally a bit in the second movie,
Right. So I don't know. It's so funny that like all the big boy like LR Broly cards, like, you know, even Tech LR Broly, it's all from the second movie. I don't know why. Someone at Akatsuki must just love that movie or something. But
I mean, Broly is so popular, so you know.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely hope that we do get a movie 1 LR Broly at some point. That would be pretty cool. But anyhow, moving on from our global EZA and all of the EZAs that we got this week, quite a few actually. We did have one more big update that did come to Dokkan this week with the brand new app update that I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about, that I know was causing quite a bit of discussion in the community, and is actually something that's super hype, and is definitely a good update for link leveling. Obviously, that being link skill orbs, which is kind of funny to think, because like the name is a little bit confusing, I suppose, because obviously skill orbs like give characters like buffs and stuff, but obviously the skill orbs for the links are just like a, you know, boost the link, and it's not like giving the link like extra stats or something like that. But regardless, though, the link orbs, right? Very, very exciting addition to the game, because it will definitely be very, very nice for link leveling. And not only that, just kind of make the whole system a lot easier, right? Because it almost kind of makes me think, like, I wonder if they didn't, I don't want to say like they didn't think it through, but I almost kind of wonder if like they didn't realize how big of an aspect to the game that links would be. And now that they kind of see that, and especially considering how much, you know, like people go crazy for links and link level grinding and all this stuff, maybe they just realized, hey, we need something to make this a little bit easier, you know, like besides the keys and all that, because, yeah, Minato, because obviously, you know, the whole real thing, like, that these will be so helpful for is, of course, when you have, you know, that one link that just won't level up to link level 10 and all the other links are link level 9, or you have that one link, you know, that you've been leveling up all your links and you have one link that's like 5 and the rest of them are like 8 and 9. The link skill orbs will be very helpful for that. How are you boys feeling about that?
I like it. I mean, I don't know if you use them, but I've used them. Obviously, Negan hasn't used them because he's global. Global is confirmed to get that in a month, so that's a good thing, right?
That's pretty cool.
In a month, Global will try it. But I think it's cool. It's just like an extra way to link level characters, and it's just especially helpful for me as like person who does use link level keys. Whenever you have a character that's like, oh, I have all like 8s, but then this one link is at 5. I could use those link orbs, get that single link to like link level 8, and then use the keys to finish off the character instead of not like wasting my keys or, you know, having to wait like extra longer for grinding. So it's going to be especially helpful for those situations. And I swear, Ningen, if you don't use these link skill orbs on the heroes units and still use the keys when they're link level 1, I am going to hunt you. You're being hunted. You are going down. I'm deleting your account. I will stop heroes from happening ever again.
Damn,
Minato,
I got told. I got told.
I hate to tell you this. You're gonna have to hunt me down because I'm using keys.
I'm putting it. Look, I don't care if you use keys. Just don't use keys when they're link level 1.
No. So I will say. So obviously for the memes, obviously last year I did use 9 sets of keys to get them from 1 to 10 because, you know, you could do a couple of runs on any stage and they'll probably get most of their links got up to 2 or 3. But I just wanted it to all be even, and I thought it'd be a funny meme. I made a short out of it. But that is one thing that will be very good is the fact that you could, if you have enough of those small orbs, you could use the small. Because does the small orbs get them up to, is it 4 or 5 maximum?
Something around like 4 or 5.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, either way, so it's like you use the small orbs, get them all up to 4 or 5, and then I'll use the keys, right? But that is the absolute godsend because, like Minato was saying, it's all about, I think, their perfect use is evening out those links so you can use the keys. Or if you're someone who doesn't buy keys, because you will be able to get some free to play, like, you know, you'll be able to get that link where when you've done, you know, a bunch of link leveling, I know free to play, it's hard to do a lot of link leveling because you don't want to spend stones on stamina refreshes and stuff like that. But one of the big uses will be things like extreme units, making sure you get that big bad bosses to level 10, like as quickly as possible. That is going to be super, super useful. But yeah, the evening out thing for the keys, I think is the absolute peak. Like it is the godsend for that function because I am somebody where I buy because obviously I'm a, you know, Toon was right about me all along. I admit it now, right? I'm a whale, so I buy the keys. I buy the keys every month, right? And
one thing I want to know before we continue with buying stuff, you can also buy these skill orbs. There's going to be
I know. Yeah, but you can get some. You can get some free to play, right? But you can buy them as well.
Buy some.
They're not out right now, but they're going to be out on the 15th.
Yeah. I buy the keys every month, but the thing that I was finding was I was actually ending up not using that many of them because that same thing would keep happening to me, right? So I'd get units that were like, all the new units would come out. So let's say, for example, we'll use them as an example. It didn't happen with him, but Turles comes out. He's got 2 side banner units. There's the free-to-play Turles and there's the LR Dr. Wheeler, right? So put all of them on a team, start link leveling them all, and then you get a unit that gets to like, so say Turles. Turles is at like full 7s. And maybe I've decided, okay, well, I'll use 3 sets of keys. So I want to get him to full 7. So then all of his links are level 7, except one that's level 5. So it's like, well, I don't want to use the keys to get him to 10 and then keep link leveling because those links would have gone up naturally. So it seems like a waste of the keys. So you keep link leveling him, except that 5 stays at 5 and then a bunch of the other ones go up to 8. So then that 5 eventually does go up to 7, but now half of his links are at 8. So then you're in that mindset of like, well, I guess now I should just wait until all the other ones get up to 8. And then you just kind of end up in a cycle where you never actually end up using the keys because the links are always at an odd number and you don't want to waste a key run. So it's like, if I'm going to keep link leveling after doing one key run because one of his links is going to be left at level 9, I might as well not do the key run yet until that link goes up. And then it just, it becomes a cycle where you just never end up using the key. So I think, let me see, I have loads of them because I have the game up here now. If I go into, I did use, I think 3 to get Turles and all those other new units finished, but I still have, of course it's going to take ages to load now.
I look sad. Oh no, I'm just.
I still have 70 keys now. So, and it's what, 5 per run. So yeah, I still have 70 keys because I would just end up not using them, right? Whereas now I get into that situation again, like just like Minato said, all the links are at level 7 except one that's at level 5. Boom, put that one up to level 7, 3 key runs. There you go, full link level 10. So yeah, that is the ultimate thing for them. And again, like people saying for free to play, you're not going to be someone that buys keys and stuff like that. I think their best use is going to be those things like big bad bosses and stuff like that, where you can kind of circumvent the long link leveling process, which for free to play is not as viable, and you can get those links up to 10 as quickly as possible. Because I think big bad bosses is the number one, right? Like that is the link that you basically need to get to 10 as quickly as possible, because it just changes the unit almost completely, right? So
let me take a look. Look at my God Goku in here, right? You see that there's a level 6 and a level 7. If this is a new character, I'd be really mad. But what I could do is I could use the skill orbs to get that 6 and 7 to 8. And then what I could do is use my link level keys and just do 2 runs. Or I can even get them all to 9 and just choose 1 run, right?
Yeah, because that's the thing. You can do it in reverse as well, right? Like you could do the 2 key runs, and then if one of their links is at 9, then boom, you just put it up to 10. So then
or
there you go.
This chopper right here, he's at 1-8. I could link that 8 to a 9 and then use 1 key run.
Yep. Although obviously in terms of like value, you want to do the links first and then the keys, because obviously it takes more orbs to get the links up the higher they go, right? But so very, very cool. Super good addition. Can't wait for them to come to global. So yeah, definitely very cool.
And people are saying it's a paid thing. No, the skill orbs are given out for free. There's going to be weekly events where you farm them. They give out a bunch of them for free at the beginning. Then there's an option to pay and get more.
Yep.
From what it looks like, you're only going to be able to buy the purple and the rainbow ones. And I guess the blue ones are just farmable, but we don't know for sure. I'm just looking at the image.
Yeah.
I guess to be fair, if you are someone who is like a whale who would be buying orbs, you probably do a lot of link leveling anyway. So getting the links from like 1 to 5 doesn't usually take that long. So, I mean, some people obviously would, because, gacha games always offer these things, right, where you can pay for convenience. But some people would just buy the orbs so they don't have to get the links from 1 to 5. But for me personally, like if they were available in separate packs, which I don't think they will be, but just as an example, I probably wouldn't buy the smaller ones and would just get the first lot of links up naturally and then buy the later ones so you can get the units finished off, right? So,
and be fair, one thing too is that it's just also helpful to have more stone cells, right? Because these will come with stones
that's
too.
true.
Yeah, because even the keys, right, come with some stones. So that's why the keys are good value, because even if you just were getting the stones on their own, they work out as like a reasonable value, and then you're getting the keys as well. So yeah, definitely very good.
Yeah. I double checked, by the way. I currently have 150 purple keys.
150? God, you need to use them. To start using them.
See, because the problem is, right, I was buying them for a really long time, and then I just didn't use them because I was link leveling units like normally.
Yeah.
And I link leveled like every unit that I would have wanted to use with the keys. Then I just ended up never using the keys, and I'm like, well, now what do I use these for? I'm not going to use them on these like random units that I don't really care about, So either way, though, I don't know. I'll probably
ask, by the way, they said, how many link level orbs do you get from the event? We have no idea.
Because the event's not out yet, is it?
Yeah.
Because how many did you get for the first login thing? Wasn't it like 100 small, and I can't remember now, but
like 100 small, 50 medium, and like 20 or 30 large. Or
was it enough to do? Was it enough to like fully link level a character from 1s to 10s? Or?
No, so
I don't think so.
You're able to get 5 links to max out. You got 100 small, 30 medium, and 20 large, and then for each one, I think you need. I think it's 10 small, you need, I think,
Oh, wasn't it like
6
6 and then 3 or
and
something?
then
Or-
Proton
3.
tweeted it. Let me
Yeah.
find it. Hold on.
Yeah, because the thing
I'm
I would
scrolling through his
say,
Twitter for
even with
something
the
else
free to
anyway.
even with the free to play ones, like you probably don't want to be using them to get links from 1 to 2, right? You want to throw those units on a
Yeah.
couple of runs on a stage first, and then use the
Yeah,
small
10
ones to go
blue,
from like
6
3 to 4
purple
or 4
for
to
red.
5 or whatever, right? So
Where did that go?
Yeah, 10, 6.
Here we go.
I'm in the chat said it.
yeah, 10, 6, 3.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of those links, like we said, are like game changing, right? Like big bad bosses. Like I know, Minato, you rush to link level new units for your 55% showcases, whereas I normally do my 55% ones as like freshly pulled level
You know
1
what's
links.
funny? I
And you
have been
can
doing
really
all-
notice the difference when you've got like a 55% level 1 links unit that has big bad
Yeah,
bosses.
true.
Because some of these big teams, especially during the worldwide, like showing off like the Zamasu units and stuff, if like that team is so powerful overall and has like good healing that like, you know, I was doing some of these 55% showcases and you just like big bad bosses would just never be active because you were never below 80% HP, right? So that link being at level 10 makes such a massive difference, right? And then even for units like Turles, those links like Destroyer of the Universe and stuff like that give so much extra buffs as you level them up. That yeah, their link levels become like very important. So, but yeah, very cool.
Very good update. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I think it's always really nice when Dokkan adds these like quality of life changes that I think really benefit the player, right? It's always nice because, you know, even though they could definitely do, I don't know, like obviously every update, excuse me, can be like, you know, the biggest, like next greatest thing for Dokkan, but I feel like doing these little quality of life things to just keep the player base satisfied is always a very nice little change. So I was definitely happy when I saw that in the update.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it's cool that I know I saw some people discussing that aspect of it in the chat. Is obviously, you know, just like with any gacha, like if you're somebody that spends, you're going to be able to get more of them. But it's cool that they
of
are
course.
giving some of them out for free, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dokkan. Very cool.
Very cool, Dokkan. You know, I will say there is one more thing that I actually I should have mentioned that I forgot to talk about last night because I was in such a frazzle last night that I actually wanted to mention before we moved on to the trash take section of our episode today. It's a real quick thing because we don't really have that much information on it, but I thought it'd be interesting just to hear what you two have to think about this because I know a couple of people were talking about it in the community. And that is the couple of new assets that we got that could point to a new type. Yes, a new type of finish skill being the finish counter.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I completely forgot about it until, funny enough, I was scrolling through Proton's Twitter to look at something else to reference for this. When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that we should talk about that. So if you're unaware, right, just for a little bit of context, in the latest JP data download, they added some new assets to the game. One of which was, you know how like when you turn on the skip animations and then you do the finish skill, you know, and then it says like standby skill activated or whatever, and it has like that blue little text that goes across the screen. They added one that says counter finish activated on JP. They also added a label, right? So if you're like clicking on the attack in the details and it says counter finish as well, we also got that new unique skill icon, which is a little like arrow spinning around back and then pointing to a little like explosion effect, which we're kind of assuming would be linked to it kind of, you know, looks like something that would be like a counter, right?
Yeah.
So obviously at the moment, no unit in the game has anything like this. There's no unit that has a like, you know, some kind of counter finish skill, which would also be another. I'm honestly surprised that they've added this many like, you know, finish skills into the game this quickly because I feel like we already have so many different kinds.
We have so many that they haven't used, like standby skills. They're just all in there. It doesn't have like we can have it added now and then we don't see it for like a year.
Right. It's definitely like something that could not happen anytime soon for sure. But I thought it would just be interesting to mention. Like, do you guys think that this will be something that will be, you know, in like an upcoming unit? Like, will this be the New Year's units or something? What do you guys think?
It could even be the next LR that's gonna
Yeah, because JP's getting a yellow coin LR soon, right?
That is true.
The thing
with the new discounts, right? And it could be like a hit where it's like he has like counters.
Yeah.
I think that's like a counter finish skill. Maybe like the time gauge. Who knows?
Yeah, the one thing I will say, I haven't really thought about it a lot because, I did see that tweet as well. And obviously, kind of in passing, I was like, oh, this seems cool. I wonder what this will be.
Yeah.
And then kind of didn't really think a huge amount about it after that. But something I just thought of, which would be kind of cool, if we're talking about it from the aspect of it being like, the terms of a finish, a bit like finish skill. Could you imagine if like it was a standby where you go into a standby and then the character has whatever they have, right? I imagine would be quite a defensive based unit if they were going to have this kind of thing. But then imagine if it was chance to counter a super, but then instead of getting what we normally get, where you get like the dodge cut in and then they just do this very little animation that is an attack and it does damage, you get the counter, but then it is a proper full-on like the standby finish, and it's a proper big like actual animation, and then they do the counter, it does damage, and then they come out of the standby. Now the one thing that Dokkan hasn't done before, which people have talked about in like concepts that when people have made like custom EZAs and stuff like that, is a unit that has that ability, because it's a standby and those usually only work for a certain number of turns. Imagine if you then coupled that with, like other games would call it like taunt, right? Like ability, where it's like if there is a super that turn, it draws it to the slot where that unit is, right?
That
like,
would be cool.
That would be super good, right? For then having that big like counter finish skill.
Awesome.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, so I don't know who it could be or what it could be. Obviously, there's tons of options out there. I would love to see, because Goku didn't get one, did he, in LR Full Power Super Saiyan 4? I'd love to see like another Super Saiyan 4 getting a really cool counter. Like I know we got one not that long ago, but like another Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Or Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. Yes, for heroes. Let's go. Let's go.
And by mechanics.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, that means Global wouldn't get a voice.
No,
Actually, they might,
no, they would, because Vegito has a voice.
For
Yeah,
Vegito,
exactly.
yeah, I would.
Because like, I mean, dude, imagine heroes with the standby. Last year we got heroes with an active skill.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
would be
I am
cool.
so hoping they need to catch up with. We need a heroes revival unit. We need a heroes with a standby, heroes with a domain. Like, oh man, get some cool stuff. But yeah, some kind of ultimate finish counter with like a taunt ability for the
since
attack.
it's like,
so good.
I assume since it's like it would be different than like other standbys, because you know how you can't use Super Saiyan 4 Goku standby and then the Buu Duo standby together because they're the same type.
Yeah.
Since this is like technically a different version because it's the counter has a different label, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it would be a different?
Yeah,
version,
because you can
potentially?
use the two different. Yeah, you can use like the
just
Buu
like
Duo
how
and
there's
the GT
Revive
Duo.
one,
Yeah,
right. The
Hopefully.
finish skill is different, so I'm thinking that you would be able to use them together.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Dr. Pritch actually in the chat. There is the thing like a cover unit type thing. So like the thing that it reminds me of, I know this ability exists in a lot of JRPGs, but the thing that I have seen the first hand thing myself is it's like the cover materia in Final Fantasy 7. So it's like rather than the super attack would still be in whatever slot it's in, but then part of that passive would be like if this unit is in standby, like whoever the super is aimed at, they take it instead, right? And then they could still make it a chance to counter, so it's not super OP.
Like,
so they take the super, but you might get the bad RNG where they actually don't counter it. But I don't know if they would lock something like that, right? Where you'd have to meet the requirements for the standby, and then it's only active for a certain number of turns, and then you could get the bad RNG and they actually don't counter the super.
I would say without the RNG, because what if it's like you're getting a super in a slot 3, the character comes in and it's like kicks it away like Vegito.
Yeah, dude, that'd be
how he
so
kicked
good.
Foosball where
Yeah,
and he counters them. That would be something like it's sick, where it's like it's not necessarily redirecting the super attack, but you stop your character ally from getting supered and you kick it.
Yeah, because even if like that, because obviously that would be very powerful. But if you made it so that it didn't do
Cell away.
Because that's the thing, is that ability would be super powerful because you're countering a super regardless of where it is on the turn. But to kind of balance it out, it could be like maybe even though we use the word counter, we would expect that, but maybe you make it so that it doesn't actually damage the enemy, but it's just like nullifying the super, even if it's in a different slot.
With the kick.
Yes. Dude, just imagine, you could imagine going into these events and you've got like, Fusion Zamasu doing a super attack on you know, I don't know,
I mean-
Mai in slot 3, and then you just get like Beast Gohan flies in with the kick. Like, dude, that'd be so
something-
good.
That's how you
That'd
make
be
like
so
the next
amazing.
anniversary
Yeah.
the best unit in the game, right?
Dude.
You know,
Yeah,
some mechanic
true.
like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
that'd be
It's like-
sick.
Like he protects the. It's like you protect these abilities where you protect characters on the rotation is what makes the best characters in the game.
Yep.
Orange Piccolo, GT
Yep.
Duo, Bulma,
True.
right? You know, even
dude, that'd be
fuses
so
Zamasu
good.
with his support and the infinite
That'd
Zamasu
be
thing.
so
There's a
cool.
lot, right? So, but we should move on to trash takes. I think. Sorry to make
Yes,
a little job.
definitely. I'm glad I brought this up though, because this was exactly the type of conversation I was hoping this was for.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I want that. I want that now so bad. I've done the
I
Dokkan
do
player
too.
thing where I've got my expectations up now.
Exactly, bro. Oh my gosh, that would be super cool. Well, we'll obviously on future episodes of the podcast, as that bit of information develops, we'll keep you posted on what happens with that. But now, for everybody's favorite section of the podcast today, we
yes.
have the trash take section, and ironically enough, we have one from our boy Proton, who is in the chat.
Yeah.
Fellow data miner of
Yeah.
mine, obviously one of the homies. He had a very interesting take related to the boy STR Jiren, which I will read out for you. And he also did give me a little bit of context for this take. I know Proton on trash takes, that's crazy. To be fair, I also picked the boy because I knew he wouldn't mind if we if we used his take for this. So, and I agree with Annie, honestly. I usually never see Proton say something that I disagree with, honestly, but this time I was like, oh. So, Proton had to say Dokkan players had no reason to expect meta-relevant EZAs, but still tricked themselves into expecting that and got disappointed. Now Akatsuki is literally asking what we want out of EZAs. So, obviously this is a bit of a hot take, considering obviously how heated we've all been about the EZA situation recently. So let me give you a little bit more context as to what Proton was thinking. Akatsuki never really revealed that an update to the cards kit via an EZA was there to make it meta-relevant. In their eyes, an EZA is probably just an update to the card's existing qualities and maybe something extra on top of it to make it somewhat relevant and not the equivalent to a brand new summonable card. And to be fair, even new ones have questionable mechanics for the current meta, but that's another issue. I made that quote trash take after they gave us the survey on the JP side, and this shows up on question number 23, which is ironically enough what Minato was mentioning earlier. Yeah, don't worry. I'll finish it out because he has a lot to say about it. But if you are unfamiliar with the question on the JP survey, what he's referencing is that it says, please select one thing that you think is important for a EZA awakening, and the options were strengthening characters' traits and strength, strengthening a character to compensate for its weakness, and strengthen it so that it matches the compatibility with new characters that appeared at the time, which is obviously interesting because that's kind of what the community has been expecting, but they haven't really been delivering on that. Proton also continues, which to me indicates that they never intended to make them busted on par with new cards. And now, after a series of backlashes by the community, they're literally saying, okay, what do you want then? And on top of all that, an EZA not being on par to new summonable cards is probably originally more like a business decision more than anything, which ironically enough, Ningen also mentioned this earlier in the stream. If an Ink Goku Black EZA is not enough now, well, guess what? They can release a brand new character of him next, which we were talking about with Jiren EZA, earlier in the stream rather. So, Minato, I know you're ready to jump on this one. What do we got?
I feel like I see the point, but I kind of like one of the points that Proton made, in my opinion, doesn't make the most sense, right? Proton was saying, okay, they update these, kits and maybe add a little extra to them, but then because of the survey, we see that they're asking us if they wanted to be as strong as new units, which he focused on that specifically, but the other two options were the very same things that he talked about. So if you're saying that they didn't plan to make the character strong because they asked in the survey, then are you also saying they didn't plan to update their kits and add new things to their kits? Because that's what the other two questions are asking. Rounding out the weaknesses, make them a little more relevant, or make them as strong as new characters. With EZAs in the past, they've done all three of those things. They've made some characters as good or even better than brand new units. I mean, it depends. A lot of them are because they have damage reduction, to be fair, which, in those cases, maybe they don't really intend. But a perfect example, I think, Physical Beerus. They brought Physical Beerus out. He has his Realm of Gods restriction. They added orb changing to him. They added the damage reduction and the potential 70%. Then they gave us a bunch of Realm of Gods bosses, and now Physical Beerus is really, really good in this most difficult content, right? And they made many of these EZAs. Esther Cooler at the time was very good. EZA Joe Blue Gogeta, right? We even saw Cell and Gohan, very, very good. A lot of these EZAs have been meta relevant and stronger than other characters. I just think that they just sometimes they're just funny. It's almost like, back in the day, Talon was always like Team A or Team B, where it's like, okay, maybe a certain team, tries to make an easy a certain way than another team does. And maybe they're trying to streamline that process because some teams make these EZAs super, super really good, so it is very confusing. Like LR Rose Goku Black, right? He's an EZA that they didn't really change what his original kit was, but they still made him very meta relevant to the game that's currently out right now. Even though there's AoEs, right? They still find a way to make him really good compared to a unit like Jiren, where he's just very mediocre. And I would almost say they need to play test these units, right? So that they could actually make them as good as they intended to be. Because I feel like even if they don't intend them to be meta relevant, sometimes they completely miss the mark. Goku Black, pretty much straight up sucks. Transforming Vegeta, pretty much straight up sucks. Jiren straight up sucks. I'm sure they don't have intentions to make these characters actually bad. They want them to be at least somewhat relevant. Well, these characters are pretty much just bad, and they know what content they're releasing. They know the numbers at bare minimum, so it just is kind of weird, right? But I feel like that's the only thing I was like thinking about, where it's like, but I do think that the community still does expect too much from EZAs a lot of the times, either sub-EZAs or Dokkan Fest EZAs. Even like the only EZAs that I would expect to become truly meta relevant each time, or I would hope for, is Dokkan Fest LR EZAs, right? Or even like we saw, again, LR Rose, an anniversary unit, maybe he could be really good. LR Baby was an anniversary unit. He ended up being pretty good. So there's like certain characters you should expect to be good, while certain characters you should be hesitant about, which I think is what Proton's main point is. And at the end of the day, I would say I would agree with the take. But there's that one point to me that this didn't make sense based off of the information I was given. I see Proton explaining more in chat. I can't really see it because the little the voting thing is right in the way. But
just scroll down. You can scroll the chat down.
Oh no, I can close the poll. That's what it is. Yeah, no, it just makes no sense, right? I feel like with the poll, everyone should vote to make these characters as strong as new characters, because like that's just obviously what we want, right? And even then, like sometimes even new characters kind of suck. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like at the end of the day, it might not even really change anything, because you could say, oh, make them as strong as newer characters, and then we get newer characters like Turles, right? So I just hope that the overall quality, at least like at minimum, because like
that just makes me think. Imagine they're trolling, like they're like, oh, so you want characters to be as strong as newly released characters when they EZA? Okay, they're as strong as physical Raditz.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's why it's just like you could say that, but it's like and at the end of the day, it could be like, well, you could say that, and it's like, oh, they're just going to end up being the same thing, right? So fingers crossed that they make the overall quality of them better. But yeah, I do think that people, given the track records of EZAs, should always take things with a grain of salt. That was my opinion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, when it comes to me, I would say I kind of agree overall with what Minato was saying, where it's like, I feel like it is a W in the sense of if we just say W or L, because I would say more it is a true take, because like I was saying at the beginning, like Dokkan never actually officially said, you know, the point of an EZA is to make a unit meta relevant again. But the problem that I have with what they're doing at the moment is it's like, well, then what is the point of an EZA? Because it's like if a unit gets an EZA and it's like they're expanding on some of their abilities and they're obviously making them better than they were without the EZA. But then it's like, but if they're then not good enough to use in the current content, then it's like, well, what's the point of them getting an EZA in the first place? So it is very strange. And like, I think the biggest problem is the inconsistency, right? So the big thing is like, as you said, we have had EZAs come out that it's like, oh my God, this EZA is insanely good. Like what a great unit this unit is now. And then we get like Jiren, right? And it's just like, especially if they're a Dokkan Fest exclusive, like those are the ones, Dokkan Fest exclusives and like summonable LRs, right? They're the premium units. So their EZAs should be good. And obviously there are factors to weigh in because it's a business. So they don't want, you know, if they make an EZA in the celebration, one of the best units in the game, that kind of removes the incentive to summon for the new units from the celebration to a certain extent. But I still think the units, whilst they shouldn't be, you know, the new best units in the game, they should be meta relevant in the sense that they're runnable in the current content, right? So if a unit comes out now, that unit should be runnable in the worldwide download celebration events, in my opinion. Now, they shouldn't be the best, kind of like we said with the Go Bros, right? Where they can tank normals as long as they get their supers, but if they get supered, they die. I think that's fine, right? Because there are plenty of units that will do well enough, but then die to a super. So if an EZA comes out and that's what they're looking like, I think that's fine. But it's when these EZAs come out that, like, they're not even tanking normals in, like, difficult events and stuff. It's like, well, why did they even release this EZA, basically? So
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like overall for the most part, right? I think it's kind of just for me, I would just hope that they would want to make EZAs good. I mean, like I feel like in my mind there's no reason for them to make a unit bad. Necessarily, right? Like I feel like even if a unit is just okay, I mean obviously that's better than a unit just being straight up bad, but I mean I just feel like that there's no real reason to ever make a unit like not good. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like obviously there is a little bit of that expectation for sure that Dokkan players have when it comes to you know, like these type of EZAs and obviously the anticipation and whatnot. But of course, albeit, right, we can't always expect the unit to be the next greatest unit in the game. But I feel like we should still at least be able to just have the expectation that, you know, the unit won't be unusable.
yeah, the biggest L is if a unit gets an EZA and then you're just like, well, I'm still not ever running this unit. Because then it's like, well, why did they even get an EZA then, basically?
Right, exactly. I think that's a great way to put it. What's the point at the end of the day if that's the case? Well,
But yeah, shout out to everyone that voted in the poll. So, I mean, like I say, we kind of, I guess, all agreed that for the most part it is a W, even if there are some aspects that can be explored. Chat seems to have agreed. So, end the poll at 63% said W take. So, shout out to our boy Proton.
Yes, sir.
63%
Thank you for being a part of it.
W take. So,
yeah, we always appreciate it. I know for a fact Proton will be like, all right, put me out there, bro. So thank you, Proton, for participating today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the end of our show today. However, I know we did get a couple of donos and super chats.
Yep.
So thank you very much so for those. Ningen is going to read those right now. But of course, if you guys want to throw any in last minute, now is your opportunity and we will answer any questions or comments that you may have. Ningen, what do we got on the chopping block?
Take it away. Okay, so from the top. So shout out, actually, I might leave this one till last just because it'll be a bit longer to answer. But so we got Will the Great with the $5 super chat. He says, hey guys, I love the content. It's great. Hope you're all able to drag truth up here one day. It'll be fun. How are you feeling about... Oh, okay, this actually goes into it as well. It says, how are you feeling about Dragon Ball Magic? Obviously, we now know it's called Dragon Ball Daima. Yeah. We'll leave this till later then, so I will read out the other one. Shout out to Raudo-kun for the $2 super chat. He says, thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima. So we'll leave that to the very end and just have a few sort of parting words on that. Shout out to Philip Rodriguez for the $2 super chat. He says, pour one out for Havo High and the Go Bros. So our boy Havo High. We're big fans, us Go Bros fans, maybe in shambles at the moment, but like I said, they're still runnable, so that's cool. Shout out to Daniel Rodriguez for the $2 super chat. He says, imagine link leveling a team that already has link level 10s, SMH Minato. So Minato's earlier fumble in the stream with his incorrect link level team. And then this goes back to this is a callback to what Minato was saying about the EZAs. So there's another one from Daniel Rodriguez here for $2 that says, did you play test this unit? And then it's the Kevin James meme. So I know you guys have seen that going on. That's been a peak meme lately. So shout out to all you guys for all of the support for the podcast, all of your questions and shout outs. So since 2 people asked about it, we will wrap up the show here and give our thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima. So I was away today before the podcast. I did see the trailer, at least. I didn't really see like the full stream and all that other stuff, but I will say, those of you who've been out to some of my live streams and we've chatted about it a little bit after the first teasers came out, when the first like sort of spoiler or whatever of the synopsis came out, I was pretty apprehensive. The idea that it was just about like Goku and Shin getting turned into kids. I never liked that about GT anyway. But I will say, as I consider myself a fan of Dragon Ball in general. So whilst it's not what I necessarily would have wanted, like I, like many people, want Super to continue. I want to see Moro animated and all that kind of stuff. I will stay cautiously optimistic because the things I will say is from watching the trailer, the animation is fire. Like it looks really good. And it's kind of interesting to me a bit more, even though I don't like, it's kind of weird to explain, right? I don't like the whole Goku got turned back into a kid in GT. I didn't like the idea of it for Magic. If it was just him again, it's like the main part of the story. But like the idea that they're all turned into kids for some reason, I find kind of more interesting. I don't know why.
Like it feels like it's focused on the entire
because I don't because I want it to be about the whole cast again, right? So I think that is kind of interesting. So I think the best way to look at it is, like I say, whilst it might not be exactly what I wanted to get from a new Dragon Ball series, I mean, I'm still going to watch it. And even if the concept of, them all being turned into kids again or whatever isn't your cup of tea for a new Dragon Ball saga, I do think it is weird that people are already, just straight up saying it's bad or whatever. Like when we haven't seen it yet, right? Like,
we don't even know the plot really.
Like, exactly. So
I mean, even being fair, the target audience isn't even us.
Exactly. I can really see that. It's like bring in the new generation of Dragon Ball fans, right?
For sure. Right.
I actually did see some comments of someone saying, like, I saw this trailer and I was kind of like, is this really is this really that great? But then they said they then showed it to their 9-year-old and they were like, oh my God, this looks awesome. And it's like, that's kind of like what it's for, right?
9 or 10 growing up watching Dragon Ball GT, I was like, Goku's a kid. He's just like me. I had that thought when watching
there you go.
Growing up as a kid. I already know many people around 8, 9, 10, etc., are going to have that thought process and they're going to be able to relate to the character and get him into Dragon Ball. Plus, Annie's in the chat, one last thing. Japanese fans are obviously overwhelmingly positive because they love seeing the Power Pole again, OG Dragon Ball, Kid Goku, right? So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is definitely very exciting. Yeah, I think especially on that point of people kind of goofing on it or clowning on it or whatever, and we don't even know the plot yet. I would say personally, just wait until we really know the plot synopsis and like, you know, really know what it's about. Because I know for me, like, I agree with Ningen. Like, I was kind of opposed to the idea when I was first hearing the leaks and stuff. Like, oh, Goku getting turned into a kid again. Oh, great. You know, and like, I know I was even making some like memes about it on Twitter or whatever. But now that I've seen the trailer and I've seen the concept, it's intriguing for sure. I agree that it's like, it's more interesting that the entire cast has now become kids.
I don't know. I saw so many memes about like Muppet babies and stuff today. Like,
the Looney Tunes baby series, but we're now getting it for Dragon Ball. So like, you know, I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's also interesting the fact that it seems very connected to the Majin Buu saga as well. Like the whole scene with the, it almost kind of looked like reverse Kais, where they were like Kais or something like
the
that.
two like bad guys at the beginning, if they are bad guys.
My opinion, my opinion is that they're in the demon realm. And then
I would think so, right?
That's my guess.
Tie us into heroes. Make heroes canon.
So like, you know, that was really interesting, obviously, for all those like little shout outs for all those little like flashbacks rather. They had like a bunch of scenes from the Buu saga. So I think that will be very interesting to see how that kind of connects back. But I think for me personally, like you said, the animation looks amazing. I'm really excited to see just the visual spectacle. And you know, I think I'm really going to you know, kind of hold back any judgment on like the actual like story until we know the story, because you know, we don't even really know it yet. So either way, I'm excited. I'm also excited, of course. I know I saw a couple of people mentioning in the chat like what we're gonna get from this in Dokkan. You know, it'll be really cool to see you know, if they end up doing some collabs where you know, they have like the, you know, anime episode airs and then we get something from the episode in Dokkan right away.
Dude, could you imagine? Because
Oh,
Dokkan benefits in the hype department. Dokkan benefits so much from having an ongoing series, right? Because it was like base. Oh, I say base because he didn't have an awakening, so I just SSR, I guess.
Yeah,
like SSR UI Goku dropping the day after that episode came out. Like that is so like peak hype. Yeah,
incredible.
This again, it could be different because it's a weekly anime compared to a movie. And One Piece Treasure Cruise dropped like year.
Exactly.
The
same time,
the same day that it came out. And since it's an anime, it could be different, especially Toriyama's like even going in and checking the cells and stuff like that. And this has been a development since 2021 compared to like the superhero movie. That honestly, a reason why the superhero movie stuff wasn't probably as fast as usual is because they had to redo the movie. So that's an issue, and they were already cut on time. So that's probably why some of these like Dokkan devs weren't able to make the animations ahead of time. But this time, I think it'll be different, and we could see new units quicker than usual. So.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm hoping too. Like, I know this is kind of a lot to ask for, to be honest, but it reminds me of R.I.P. JoJo Starter Shooters, my GOAT gacha game.
We need a new JoJo gacha.
We do.
When part 4 was airing concurrently, this was back in high school for me, so this was a fat minute ago, but they had a story event where every single week a new episode aired. They added to the story event for that new episode. So it was literally just like whatever happened in the episode was then the story event for that week in, you know, like that, you know, section of like the JoJo gacha. And that's a lot to ask, having, you know, a new story event every week for a new episode, because then you're basically like retelling the episode in Dokkan form every week. But by golly, I would be so here for it. I would love it. That was the case, man.
Didn't the Dokkan Broly story give information on the movie before the movie was out?
A little bit, I think so,
because it went to like Vegeta versus Broly, and then after the movie, that's when we got Blue Vegeta in the coat. Remember?
Right.
Yeah, that was like very early on, and like I guess no, that was when the movie released, wasn't it? Let me not spread misinformation.
I think it was. I think you're right. There was some aspect,
something in there.
It might have been like the fact that Broly's You know what I think it was? His transformation was using the power of the Great Ape. In the Fury Broly. I think that was technically first set in Dokkan. Right? Yeah,
Remember
in the like, because you know how he has like it's base Broly and then Fury Broly and then Super Saiyan Broly and then full power. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, I could be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure Fury Broly, you know, the black spiked up hair and the yellow eyes, the Akari form, a lot of
Yeah.
people call it. I think
Mhm.
Dokkan originally was the first like platform that shared that was from the power of a great ape, and then they
That's
said that
cool.
later in the movie. I could be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure that's what
All I
Minato's
know is
remembering
that
because I remember something like that.
Dokkan gave some like little like scenes or like
Yeah, something
hints
like that.
before the
Yeah.
movie was actually out.
Yeah. Which is really cool. So that'll be interesting to see if the same thing happens. But I definitely hope that regardless of, you know, whatever we get, whether it be like a free-to-play unit, you know, like the first episode of Daima's Drop, or obviously, you know, whatever like the big super hype moment will be in the anime, that, you know, we get like a summonable card of that like the day after, right? Like whatever the case may be, I do hope that we definitely get some stuff like right as it happens. So
Yeah.
because that with this time, you know, obviously since, you know, superhero had the funny Toei hack and that made the movie get delayed, and it kind of, you know, threw everything a little bit of a wrench in things, right? And that ended up delaying the, you know, superhero movie celebration for Dokkan, and, you know, it kind of got like tossed asunder from it coming out right when the movie came out. Hopefully now that everything is kind of on the straight and narrow, they can release it right when the anime comes out. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Yep, I'm excited. Like I say, whilst at first I was a bit like, it looks cool. It's just think of it more as like, you know, it's like a side adventure type thing, right? It's
Right.
not. And also the
Exactly.
one thing I think we should point out, not to drag this part on for too long, because we did get a couple more super chats come in. But the other thing as well is, depending on what resources and what teams that they've put into this project, it doesn't necessarily confirm that we're not going to get something else as well in the next, like, you know, year to 2 years maybe. Like, for all we know, 6 months from now they could announce like Super Season 2 is coming out in like 2025 or something, right? Like, we don't know that for sure, but
quite literally, they've been working on this since like 2021.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we've seen like the artist
Yeah.
animators been posting like, you know, drawings of like I'm not sure if you guys saw one of the animators.
I did.
Confirmed.
Yeah,
he's been
one of
posting
the
like
animators,
stuff like that since like 2021. A Kid Goku and Kid Goku fighting. He's
Yeah.
been practicing one of the I think one of the main animators, like their art style, right? So it's been a very long time, so it's been working on that for a while. So I mean, for all we know, they could be working on more arc right now.
Exactly.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
You know.
so wait and see. I think
Leaks on the Super Slot One podcast.
I know, right? Yeah, wait and see. Judge it for what it is when it comes out. It might not be exactly what we wanted, but at the end of the day, even if you don't like the general idea of the story, like, there probably are still going to be some like hype moments and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just
For
cool
sure.
to get more Dragon Ball, and if it does bring in that new audience, it keeps the IP like going, right? So,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
we're all here because we love Dragon Ball. So if
Yeah.
it keeps on trucking, then we will be there no matter what, as the meme says, right? So
More people addicted to gambling on Dokkan, baby. Let's go.
hell yeah, exactly.
Akari, woo!
All right, so last couple of shout outs here. So we have another $5 super chat from Philip Rodriguez. He says 2 more weeks till Heroes Month. Are you ready, Minato and Theo? I think he knows I'm ready, right?
Yes, sir. I'm hyped out of my mind, Minato. I don't care what you got to. No, I'm kidding. I love you, bro.
Look, I love Heroes, but I just hate
No,
the banner
no.
like shafts me when Heroes, right?
Yeah, let's hope that they are.
Guaranteed featured
I
unit.
Oh
That's
yeah,
impossible.
guaranteed feature unit. I went like freaking 1,000 stones without a single Vegeta Super Saiyan 4.
I think
What
it's
was I
skill
supposed to
issue
do?
to me, bro. I don't know.
Maybe
about
you
all
just
that.
suck. dumbasses. Maybe the banners suck. Maybe guaranteed feature SSR is a.
You know, we should just
lie.
remove it, bro. We should just have full rare banners. I think that's the point.
Yeah, hopefully they won't be.
Heroes banner.
Hopefully they won't be as restricted. Hopefully they'll age a little bit better. But who knows? We'll see. So we always ready for Heroes. My channel, we're going to be doing loads of stuff. The November podcast episodes, well, there'll be plenty of Hero stuff. So you guys don't need to worry about that. And then last but not least, here, shout out to Dr. Pritch for the $10 donor. I appreciate you. He says, "Thank you guys for what you do. Loving the podcast. Why does Dokkan refuse to awaken physical Botomageddon?" It's because they know he's the unstoppable GOAT, right? Because he's got the, is it minus 43% attack or something, right? So you do the meme runs where you run double Botomageddon and it takes 3 hours to beat an event, but you can't take any damage.
The go.
They would be like +1 key to the leader skill, and that's how they change.
Yeah.
As a buff.
So yeah, they just
man.
fear his godly power. That's all it is.
He's
right?
too strong, bro. He's too strong.
Yeah, so shout out to Dr. Pritt. Shout out to everybody else. Like I say, we always appreciate you
sir.
guys supporting the podcast and helping keep the lights on, as they say. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, shout out to all of you guys. And yeah, back to you then, Theo, to wrap us up.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out to episode 7. I can't believe we're already on episode 7. Wow,
I
that's
know.
crazy. Soon enough, we'll be at episode 10.
Big double
yeah,
digits,
we have
baby.
a lot. Yeah, oh man. I'm excited. We'll have to do something a little funny maybe for episode 10. We'll have to see when we get there. But yeah, obviously lots of exciting stuff coming up. Of course, possibly this week, maybe next week. I would think it would be sometime this week. We'll be getting the part 2 LR, so that'll be something else that we can talk about next time.
Yeah, because we'll have
as well.
we'll have a full understanding of how the pity thing is going to
So-
work, right?
Right.
So-
I don't
Exactly.
even know if the banners should be out on like the 22nd or like something. So it might not even be next week.
yeah,
Well, I
maybe.
think we'll see. Something like that.
V-Jump should
is
give us the
soon.
link. to that.
That's
I think-
true.
I think we'll see it in V-Jump.
We'll see. And not to mention, on the 22nd is the Heroes live stream. That is
Oh,
the,
yes.
Heroes live stream. I will be live. I'm sure Ningen will probably
yes.
be live reacting to that. I do that every single year. That's probably like my favorite live stream of like reacting to something that I do every single year, because it's just all the meaty Heroes content that I'm getting juiced for all year. So obviously we will then of course see the Dokkan battle units during that live stream as well, which will be very exciting. But yeah, this week will probably be a little bit quiet for Dokkan, and then really at the end of the week we'll be kicking in a high gear.
Actually, yeah, I've got to, there's a couple, there were 2 donos actually that for some reason I did copy paste them onto a notepad because they didn't show up on my Streamlabs for some reason.
Oh.
So shout out to Mega Nice. I don't know what currency is. It's TRY, but 55 TRY. He says, since this is aired, oh god damn it, why did you? Okay. Since this is aired on Ninget's channel, both Minato and Dokkan assets should know that they also lost the game. So thanks. We've all lost the game now. So thanks a lot, Mega Nice.
How did you do this to
And
me?
everyone in chat. Shout out everyone on Spotify. Everybody else, right? We all just lost the game. God damn it, Mega Nice.
I lost the game.
And then shout out to Mr. Nacho for the $5 dono. He says, how would you guys feel if Dodge got 2% per level, but they made more events and bosses cancel Dodge? So that's kind of interesting.
Dodge supremacy, Dodge agenda.
I mean, it would make Dodge much more powerful, but then obviously if they started restricting it a lot more, then yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting, right?
I think it would be like you use these units in certain events and they're good in the certain event, and I like that. It'd make Dodge, like these Dodge units more valuable. What I also want to say is, funny enough, Ningen, I always forget your birthday is like 2 days before.
Oh yeah, someone did actually say in the chat, right? I should plug my stream. Also, I want to shout out. Did he put a message with it? Because obviously normally we read out the super chats because they are the benefit for the podcast itself, because even though this is on my channel, but shout out to our boy Bringer Down. He's a regular. He re-upped his membership, so
Thank you.
but he put LR Blue Duo is a fraud. I don't know about that.
Wait. Okay, no. He's talking about the Fizz one. Anyway, move on.
Yeah, the physical one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna assume it's the physical one.
Yeah, no, not the AGL LR. They are awesome, but
yeah, of course.
But yeah, so to plug my, it is my birthday on Sunday the 15th
happy
of
early
October.
birthday.
I am doing a birthday subathon stream here on the channel. So that's going to start at 6 p.m. UK time. So let me just get the image up here so I can check it for you guys who are elsewhere. But it'll be 6 p.m. UK, 1 p.m. EST, or 10 a.m. PDT. It'll be a subathon like we do for the World Tournament stream sometimes. So the stream will start at 6. We'll have a timer up. It'll probably just be set for like an hour. And then obviously based on contributions, membership, stuff like that, I will keep adding to the timer. I'm not sure what the limit will be, but we're probably going to go for at least like 6 or 7 hours, right? Depending on the support. So if you guys want to come out, obviously it is my birthday on the Sunday. We'll be doing a bunch of stuff. We'll do Heroes versus Sin. We'll do the randomizer wheel stuff, all sorts of stuff, right? So if you guys want to come out and show some love on my birthday, Sunday the 15th, that would be pretty cool. So.
Awesome.
But yeah, that is it for the shout outs that I forgot. The shout out to everyone that contributed, and then just the cheap plug at the end for my birthday stream. So
Hey, listen, bro, you gotta plug the birthday. Of
I
course.
know, right?
Of course. All right, well, with all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for coming out to the episode today. Thank you for all the super chats and donos. We always really appreciate the support. We will be back, of course, next Friday for another episode of the Slot One Super Podcast. Things are getting exciting. We're getting towards the end of the year here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, link in the description. We also have the episodes now uploaded to Spotify as well. And of course, with the stream, are you
Yeah, these are
re-uploading
just
the
staying
stream?
up for now. So
Gotcha. Okay, so we decided to change it from last time where we used to be privating the VOD and then uploading the actual video later. But we kind of changed it up and just decided to leave the stream up. So if you want to share the episode with your friends, or if you want to rewatch it or what have you, obviously you can just hop onto the stream replay. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. This has been Dokkan Assets, Minato's Flash, and Mass Ningen. We will see you in the next one.
peace out.
Have a good one, everybody.
Ah.